4. We are on page 4.
We're on page 4. Okay, well, tell me how your day was.
Good.
Did you do online school today?
No, maybe yesterday. Tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Saturday. All right, you think we're on page 4, is that right?
Yes,
I see that we just finished.
this one.
Yeah, we just finished this one. Geronimo Stilton met the vendor and got his ice cream made out of cheese, and his phone rang, right?
Ring. I know who called him. His superhero friend.
That's right, his superhero friend. Although the character we are going to meet on this page is not listed on the page of characters that we looked at yesterday. This is a new character. His name is Hercule Poirot. And actually, let me show you something. Just a minute, okay? Okay, I'm back. So there's this author. These are some really old books of Miss Camp's, okay? See, look up, you see up here where my face is?
Yes.
See that says Agatha Christie, okay?
Yeah.
Do you hear? It says Agatha Christie. Do you see it?
Yes.
And here it says Agatha Christie. So she's not living anymore. She wrote these stories a long time ago, maybe 100 years ago. Let me look and see when she wrote this. 1959. So maybe that was 60 years ago, okay? And do you see this person in the circle at the top?
Yes.
And there's another picture of him here on the back. Do you see that?
Yes.
And he's also on the top of this one. Do you see?
Yes.
And there he is on the back. Can you see him?
Yes.
So his name, and here he's right here in that circle. Do you see?
Yes.
So his name is Hercule Poirot. If you look really closely, you tell me if you can see the words. Let me see how I can do this here. Right there. Do you see the word, the little black words?
Yes.
You see where it says Hercule Poirot?
Yes.
So that character's name is Hercule Poirot. And he's a famous detective that's in the mystery stories written by this author, Agatha Christie. Okay? So he's a famous detective, but he's not real. He's fiction. Do you remember that word fiction?
Yes.
It means it's not real, it's just pretend. But that author is real. Her name is Agatha Christie, and she invented this detective named Hercule Poirot. And
it's a girl or a boy?
Well, Agatha Christie is a girl author, but the detective right there, he's a boy.
He's a boy.
And he, so she wrote, I don't know, maybe 100 different mystery stories. And look at how long these books are.
Wow.
They're not kid stories, okay? And they're really long, and the writing in them is really, really small. And so he's a famous detective that solves the mysteries in these stories. And but it's actually a character that really you would only know about if you are an American or someone from England and you're my age, or you like to read mysteries and you're a high school student or an adult. And she's a pretty famous author, and this character, Hercule Poirot, is a pretty famous detective, but I think it's funny that the author of Geronimo Stilton uses that name, because who reads Geronimo Stilton's books? Kids. And kids really would never have heard of Hercule Poirot, the famous detective, because they would not read the books that he's a character in. They're for older people, for high school students or adults. But anyway, he's a famous detective. And if you look at the way his name is spelled, look at the last 3 letters of Poirot. Can you see?
Yes.
What 3 letters do you see?
R-O-T.
That's right. And so do you see now, if we look at the iPad, do you see what the author of Geronimo Stilton did to those 3 letters? Right here.
Oh, R-A-T.
Yeah, and so he just changed the O to an A because he always looks for a way to kind of have fun with words. Anytime he can use the word mouse or rat in a word, he does it, right? And so he took the character's name was, this should be an O, and he changed it to an A, right? But he expects that we, the reader, would say, ha ha ha, we know it's supposed to be Hercule Poirot, the famous detective from Agatha Christie's mystery books. But I don't think that the readers of Geronimo Stilton would really know that. Anyway, let's go back up to the top of this page and I will start reading, and you can follow along, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to read the first paragraph and you are going to read the next paragraph. So do you remember how to tell the paragraphs? We put a line down the side, and then remember each paragraph is going to have a space, okay? A space at the beginning of the paragraph. So you see those, the purple dots that I made?
Yes.
Those are at the beginning of each paragraph, okay? So I'm going to start with the first one. Rats. I hoped whoever was calling would make it quick. My ice cream was already melting. Your turn.
Hello, hello, hello. Are you there, Geronimo?
It was Hercule Poirot, my good friend and Heromice partner. Your turn.
I said a word.
I want you to read this part. This part is what Geronimo is saying to Hercule. He says, Hercule.
Hercule, is everything okay? I asked.
Let's see here. Far from it, Hercule squeaked. I need you in Muskrat City immediately. It's an emergency. Your turn.
Emergency, but my ice cream is
My ice cream, I stand.
stemmed.
So you have to say this part, my.
My. Mama, I.
Ah, what happened?
Mama,
I lost my, I have to start over.
My nose.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, you scared me. You scared me. All right, I'm going to start right here.
My nose.
Hercule interrupted me. Do you know what it means to interrupt someone?
I didn't know.
It means that if you and I are talking, and then someone, let's say you and I are talking, and then someone comes in here to see me and just opens the door and comes in and starts talking to me, even though I'm talking to you, that would be interrupting me. Or if I go up to two people who are talking to each other, they're not talking to me, and I just start talking to one of them, then I am interrupting their conversation. So do you think it's very polite to interrupt someone?
No.
No, right? What do we need to do if two people are talking and they're not talking to us, but we really want to say something? What can we do if we don't want to interrupt them?
I don't know.
Well, one thing we could do is we could tap them on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me," or we could stand there and wait patiently until one of them notices us, and then they will look at us and wonder why we are standing there, and they will say, "Did you need something?" And then that's our chance to say, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have a question," right? That would be a polite way to do it. If it's really important and we don't want to wait, or we wait for a few seconds and they don't ask us why we are there, then we could just tap them on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a question," or "I need to say something to so-and-so." It's a little bit tricky knowing how to interrupt in a polite way. So let's see. I'll explain everything when you get here, Geronimo. Just hurry up. All right, let me
Oh,
do up. Stammered is how a person talks if they, do you see this word when I said my?
no.
Look right here on the computer. See this?
Yes. My.
If you take the first letter or sound of the word and you have to say it a couple times before you say the whole word, my, that's called stammering, okay? It's also called stuttering. And people might do that if they are very nervous. I tried to protest. Remember we did this word in the Geronimo Stilton story about Venice? We talked about what does it mean to protest? If you want to protest, are you trying to say, "No, no, no, I don't want to.
No, I don't want to.
Or are you saying, "Okay"?
No, I don't want
That's right.
to.
So I tried to protest, like, "I don't want to come. I don't want to meet you. I want to stay here and eat my yummy ice cream cone made out of cheddar cheese chips," right? That's what Geronimo Stilton really wanted to do. But all I heard was a dial tone. That's when the other person on the phone hangs up and you just hear, nobody there. So Geronimo Stilton can't protest to nobody, right? And Hercule Poirot is not on the phone anymore. What could I do? Hercule needed my help. All right, oh boy, what do you think's going on here? Isn't this the craziest looking picture? Have any predictions? What do you think's happening in this picture?
Use a pen and tap it and you will fly. And you will fly up.
Wait a minute, did you look ahead? Did you peek? I thought so. Well, otherwise that would be a really amazing prediction. Do you know what a prediction is?
I didn't know.
A prediction is when we guess what we think is going to happen next or later in the story. We just make a guess. All right, he starts out here by saying, wiping away a tear. That means he's crying. There's some tears are the, can you see where I'm pointing on my face? Tears,
yeah.
And water is coming out of the eyes. It means we're crying. Well, why do you think Geronimo Stilton would be crying? Why would he be crying?
I didn't know.
Well, he's sad about something. What would he be sad about? let's look at the next sentence and see. He
He
says,
said about his ice cream.
that's right, because look what it says, I stared longingly at my super delicious ice cream. Longingly means, oh, I really want that. Oh, here's my ice cream cone. Okay. Oh, I really want my ice cream cone. That's staring at it longingly. My super delicious ice cream cone. And then he says, so long, cheddar chip. Hey, that's the name of the chapter. Do you remember? Do you remember what it means if we say to somebody, so long?
Cheddar chip.
What does it mean if we tell someone, so long, so long? Are we saying hello or goodbye?
Goodbye.
That's right. So long
Hello.
means goodbye. So he's holding his ice cream cone and he's going, so long, cheddar chip ice cream. He's like, goodbye, I can't eat you now. Let's see. Then I looked for a place to transform. Do you see this word right here? Transform. Can you see that word?
Yes. Transform into Super Stilton.
Do you remember what it means to transform? To change into. He's going to change into Super Stilton. So he has to hide. He doesn't want anybody to see this. So I ducked behind. Do you see this part right here that says I ducked behind? That means he's going to go behind something to hide because he doesn't want anyone to see what he's about to do. I ducked behind the ice cream cart. This would be the perfect place. Then I pushed the secret button on my super pen. See that? Let's see what's going to happen. Immediately, a green ray of light enveloped me from my whiskers to my tail. Enveloped means just surrounded me, like a bubble, just went all around me. That's enveloped. So he took out his secret super pen, he pushed a button, and then you can see, right? The green light just wrapped all around him, transforming me into Super Stilton. Dun, 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 dun. Shall we turn the page?
Yes.
All right, here we go. We're on page 6. Too bad I forgot 2 tiny details. You see this word details? Details are little pieces of information, something specific, some little thing that is kind of important, and he forgot it. Let's see, number 1, you see number 1 and number 2. These are the 2 tiny details. First, I had used the super pen a little too close to the ice cream cart. Uh-oh. And number 2, I still had my ice cream cone in my paw. So look over in the picture and you can see what happened. Can you see what happened?
Yes.
What is on top of him? Have we seen this before?
Yes.
Look right here. Does that look familiar?
The cheesy freezy.
Yeah, this thing right here.
It's the cheesy freezy.
Yeah, this thing that looks like a roof, like a tent kind of that goes over where people stand so it keeps the rain off of them. This is called an awning. And that when he was standing too close to the cart, so when he turned into Super Stilton, this came off the cart and wrapped on top of him when he went straight up into the air. right? Because he's going to start flying. And as he went up, he was too close to the cart. So he went, his head, so watch what happens here. As he went up, his head went underneath the awning and it pulled it right off the cart. And so now he kind of looks like a ghost, right?
Yes.
Here he is. And the other thing is, the other number one, or was it number one or number two? Let's look. Number two said, I still had my ice cream cone in my paw. So what's underneath the awning? What's underneath that? He's still holding his what?
Ice cream cone.
Do you think that's going to be a problem?
Yes. This is.
Do you see the person working there at the cart, the vendor? He said,
Yes.
huh? He says, what just happened? Can you see right here where the awning broke off of this piece right here? And look at this guy. Did he notice what happened?
No.
I
Yes.
think he said,
No,
hey. So I'm gonna come back right here. So right as I lifted up into the air, I became tangled in the cart awning. I tore the awning right off the cart, carrying it away with me. Oh, why did I always feel like such a super dunce when it came to using my super pen? Okay, do you see the word super dunce?
Yes.
The author of this book likes to put super in front of everything. So forget the super for a minute. And this is the word
Dunce.
And dunce is a word that I really don't ever want to hear you say because it's not a nice word. And it's not, we don't want to ever call someone a dunce. If you call someone a dunce, you're saying they're really stupid. And that's a really mean thing to say. So people should never call someone else a dunce, okay? That if you ever did that, people would look at you and they would think, wow, you are a very mean person. And we don't want anyone to ever think that about you. So this is a word that we should not say, okay? But kind of like scatterbrain, it's okay to say it about yourself. Although I think it's a little bit better to call yourself a scatterbrain, I still don't really think it's a very good idea to call yourself a dunce because we want to be kinder to ourselves. We don't want to, it's like saying, I'm so stupid. Well, that's not a good thing to say. So we all make mistakes, but we don't have to get really mad at ourselves and say, oh, I'm so stupid. I think that's not a good habit to get into. So I think that dunce is probably not a good word for us to use. But Geronimo is feeling a little frustrated because he's now flying through the sky wearing this green and white striped awning from the...
And a yellow one, a yellow dot.
Yeah, and the yellow dot. All right, well, let's turn the page.
That yellow dot is his ice cream.
Oh, okay. We have to go all the way up to slide 16, I think, for the next chapter. And here he's going to meet, do you remember this character here in the yellow?
His friend.
Yeah, that's his partner, his superhero. He's on his superhero team. I think that we did meet him back on the character page, right?
Geronimo Stilton is the strongest hero in Market City, but he still must learn how to control his power. But the next two is helping him. The next two is helping him.
So do you remember we just talked about what the word transform means, and I see it right here. So he can transform his super suit into anything. Do you remember what transform means?
Yes.
To change into. Okay, so that is swift pause. All right, let's go back to slide 16.
Where slide 16 slide. 16 slide. 16 slide.
Did you get there?
60. I get to
16.
slide 60.
Not 60. Are you on the same as me?
Yes?
Okay, so I'm gonna start this new chapter. This new chapter is called A Respectful Robber Mouse. Now,
No, the chapter is the start study the milestone, that chapter.
what can you turn your iPad around and show me what you have? Oh, I'm not on that chapter.
What chapter? The chapter, this one?
Yep, that one. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So there's two vocabulary words that I want to tell you about here, okay? Before we have to look at the title of this chapter. Respectful. Have you ever heard this word, respectful?
No.
There's a little word inside this big word, and it's the word respect. And if you if you respect someone, then that means you treat them in a nice way. It means that you're kind. You don't interrupt them. You don't say mean things to them. You are kind and you encourage them and you say please and thank you and you're polite and you treat them nicely. Okay, that's what it means to respect someone. If you respect people, then everyone would look at you and say, oh, you are a very respectful person. That means you know how to treat other people in a very nice way. Now, looking down at Robbermouse, let's forget mouse for a minute because we know the author always adds the word mouse. But let's look at the other part of the word, which is robber. Do you know what a robber is?
No.
A robber is a person who takes things that don't belong to them. So maybe they go into the bank and they take the money from the bank, but it's not their money. So is that okay to do that?
No.
No, that is a crime. That is breaking the law, right? The police would come and try to catch them. So a robber is someone who takes things that don't belong to them. So being a robber, is it really usually a very good person who robs people?
Hmm?
Do you think of a robber as someone who is very respectful and kind and good?
Yes.
Well, think about it for a minute, Archie. A robber is someone who maybe goes into a store or a bank and steals things that don't belong to him. Do you think that person is being kind and good and respectful and polite?
No.
No, so we really would not usually use the word respectful to describe somebody who is stealing things or taking things that don't belong to them, right? That makes the title of this chapter very interesting and confusing. So we should look at that title and say, huh? What? A robber is respectful? That doesn't make any sense. And then we will be curious and then we will think, I want to keep reading and find out how a robber could possibly be respectful because I don't believe it. Okay? I think the author did it on purpose to write the title of this chapter to make us curious so that we want to keep reading. Okay? Ready? You see where I am?
Yeah.
Are you on the same page as me?
Yes.
Okay, here I go. By the
There you
time,
go.
by the
There
time
you
I'm
go.
able to get the awning off my snout, remember that's the mouse's nose, I can see Muskrat City below me. Okay, question, if Muskrat City, if he can see the city below him, then where is he right now? Is he on the ground or is he up in the air? Here's your clue. The city is below him. So I can't hear you, Archie. Are you talking to me? Did you turn your sound off? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. So you see that word below?
It's up on the sky, so the below is down.
Right, right. For example, if I said to you that here, what do I got here on my table? Let's see, nothing very interesting. I'll just use these. See my red and my green?
Yes, red, green box.
Which box is below the green box?
Red.
The red box is below the green box. So Geronimo is up here and he's looking down and seeing the city below him. So he's flying around in the sky right now. And we know that just because of that word below. All right, I'm gonna keep reading. Whoops, not with my, there we go. With the cloth wrapped around my super suit, I landed in the garden of Heromice headquarters. Headquarters would be their main office, like their #1 office where the superheroes meet. Now, something that the author of Geronimo Stilton likes to do is he likes to have Geronimo say really funny things when he's surprised, okay? Actually, all the characters. Anytime one of the characters is surprised, he wants the character to say something really funny. Like, I might say something like, jeepers, or oh my goodness, or good grief, or gee whiz, or wow, or I can't believe it. But what the author of Geronimo Stilton likes the characters to say is something really weird, usually has to do with cheese or a mouse or a rat, and loves to use alliteration. Do you remember that word from yesterday? Alliteration. I'll put it right here. Do you see it? And do you remember what it means? Do you see it, Archie?
Yes, I see it.
Alliteration is when we have 2 or 3 or a few words right next to each other, and each word starts with the same sound, okay? So look what Swift Paws says, and tell me if you think this is alliteration. Ready? He says, super Swiss slices. Do those all begin with the same sound?
Oh, the super Swiss slicer.
Super. Hey, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Yes, I will ask you that question.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you found out how to do that. Have you also noticed there's a place to chat?
Yes, I guess. You see?
Actually, I don't have my chat box open, but maybe when we do this tomorrow, I will open my chat box, okay?
Okay.
So do you see where I said super Swiss slices? You know, when we did the Geronimo Stilton story about Venice, we learned about Switzerland, and we saw the picture of Swiss cheese from Switzerland, because things from Switzerland are called Swiss. And Swiss cheese is the cheese with all the holes all over it, right? Oh, raise your hand.
I did that right.
Okay. So do you think that Swiss cheese has anything to do with this right now?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
This is just Swift Paws being surprised And why do you think Swiftpaws is why do you think he's being surprised?
I don't know.
Because look at Geronimo Stilton. He just landed from the sky all wrapped up in that green and white striped awning. He looks really funny. And Swiftpaws, he goes, super Swiss slices. That's like saying, oh my goodness, wow, I can't believe it. And then he said, he cried when he saw me, what is that, Super Stilton? A new super cape? A super dress? A super toga? Well, poor Geronimo, he was so embarrassed. He said, he goes, I coughed, pretending I didn't notice. I was wrapped up like a furry super sausage, like a hot dog in a bun.
Sausage.
Yeah, a sausage is like a hot dog. Have you ever eaten a hot dog?
Yes, just one.
Well, he feels like a hot dog right now, all wrapped up in a bun. And then we're just going to finish this page and we're going to be all done. Everything's under control, I muttered, freeing myself and changing the subject. Poor Geronimo, he is so embarrassed. He does not want to talk about the awning, the green and white striped awning anymore. He wants to just find out, why is he here? He says, so why don't you explain what's going on? Why did you call me? What's the emergency? All right, that's where we're going to stop for today. So,
I will pick at the next page.
should we make a star? Do you know how to make a star so that we can see what page we're on? Do you know how to do that? Did I show you how to make a star?
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to click on my square and my circle and then click on the star. And then I'm going to draw my star right here. Okay, so then I can remember. All right. There we go. All right, I'm going to hit save and I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have a great Friday night with your family.
Goodbye.
So I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to say so long.
So long. Peter Chip.